From what I understand, you captured something, a border patrol agent on a horseback, right? And there was a lot of pushback from people saying this border patrol agent was whipping people. But you got a different side of that, right?
I got the real story.
Well, tell us about that, because I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so that's also at the time when we had the Haitians, the 15,000 Haitians encamped underneath the international bridge. And so at the time, there's when they were crossing, there's like a dam there at the Rio Grande River, and that's where they were using it to walk. And I just so happened that when I first noticed them, is I was in Del Rio, and for some reason I had to go back to Acuña on the Mexican side, and I always carried the drone with me. And so when I'm driving back and I look over, I'm over the bridge over the Rio Grande River, and I look over to my right, that's when I see a whole line of people. So usually it was groups, and they would cross, and if you weren't there, you pretty much miss it. But this time the line was there, and it just kept going. So I'm like, what's going on down there? So as soon as I crossed, I go park and get my drone up. And when I get there, I mean, there's Haitians on the Mexican side that are still not crossing yet. And so I get the drone up, and then I follow the line, and it's, they're crossing the Rio Grande River, and it goes, and then it's going underneath the international bridge, and there's already a group already gathering. So it was like the initial, when they had all had gotten there. And so right away I get that footage and put it up on social media, and it kind of just blows up, and journalists started sharing it, and there comes everybody. And that's when it became national news. So the first time when I mentioned that I met Bill Belusian, they were crossing a little bit more upriver, and then that kind of got blocked, and the numbers increased, so they moved closer to the international bridge, and that's when they were using that dam to walk. It's pretty much like a sidewalk. Mm-hmm. And so it got so big that they shut that down. And so being familiar with the area, I realized the next crossing point for them is going to be on the other side, which on the Mexican side, it's a park. There's soccer fields. And so I get up early that morning, and I go to the other side, and sure enough, they're already crossing. And as soon as I put videos up, there goes all the reporters. And some were already watching me because they knew I was local and I knew everything was happening. And so right away they said, "Yeah, I saw your video." So they showed up, and that's why I'm here. And so it got to the point where they're just going back and forth because they were stationed underneath. They were encamped underneath the international bridge. So they would go to Acuña, get food, water, and then come back. So they're going back and forth. And so on one occasion, Border Patrol brings out the horses. And so I thought it was pretty cool, right? So I started filming them on horseback. They were just patrolling there and watching the migrants where they're crossing at the river and then back to the international bridge. And so on one of those, they kind of rounded them up kind of like cattle. And so I follow the horses to the international bridge as they're going. And then when I'm flying the drone back, that's when the incident happened. And it was the last of the Haitians, because they had blocked that area as well. So they had told them, if you're not back by 1, you're going to be stuck in Mexico. Mm-hmm. So these were the last ones that were crossing with food. And so I'm flying the drone, and I'm getting all this. And so the photo that went viral is reporters that were in the river, and it's the Haitians with the food and Border Patrol telling them, it's already past the cutoff time. We warned you, go back to Mexico. And they didn't listen. They kept insisting. So that's when one of the Border Patrol agents leans over and grabs one of the Haitians. But you can see the reins kind of hanging, the horse mm-hmm. reins. And that's when it was interpreted that they're whipping the Haitians. And that photo went viral. Politicians got involved, saying, that they started an investigation right away. And once I shared my video saying there's no whipping, here's the whole context. Border Patrol went out and said, they announced it in loudspeakers, at 1:00, we're cutting off you going back and forth to Mexico. That's it. no more, because there's still people arriving. Haitians were still arriving and joining in. So they had already cut off one side of the river, and that's how they went to the other side. And so now they did the same thing. Like, we got to cut it off, no more crossing, and get these people cleared out. So, because they had shut down the international bridge for a week. And so locals were already complaining, because everybody goes back and forth, whether it's work or, you know, for your doctor's appointment or whatever, commerce. And the bridge was already shut down, but they had to clear out everybody. So in order to clear it out, they had to first stop the Haitians from going back and forth. And so they had announced, it's like 1 o'clock, we're shutting it down. Make sure you're back. And so that's the whole context of everything. And so these were like the last Haitians, and they were trying to tell them, it's like, no, it's already past the cutoff time, go back to Acuña, and they didn't listen. They kept on going. And so when they started the investigation, the Border Patrol, I guess like the investigation department, called me, and they asked me for the footage. So I started going on networks, because the whole story was that Border Patrol was whipping the migrants, the Haitians. And once my footage got out, they started reaching out to me. It's like, you know, what's really happening? Can you explain? And I showed them, like, there's a video. There's no whipping taking place. And eventually, Border Patrol agents got I guess the exonerated, and you know, my footage was the main reason why, because it provided the complete context.
Yeah.
And
That's fantastic.
and so going back to the different networks, Univision had called me for an interview, so I could explain that scenario. And when I started telling them, like, there's no whipping, they just cut me off. It's like, we have to go to commercial, because it didn't, you know, it didn't align with their narrative.
Yeah.
But that's how I started learning, you know, the different networks, the different agendas that they have.